Okay, so today I'm doing episode 4 of my little shaman thing, and obviously I'm just messing around with Evolve a lot, but what I've been lazy about doing with some of these gimmick little rotations, this is like a sub-series of Hearthstone where I'm just trying to play, go through every class and play like some sort of fun or gimmick deck or mechanic that I like from the history of the game, or maybe one that I didn't get too much of a chance to try, because since I never really played shamans that much, right, at any point in the whole history of the game, I mostly played it maybe just in arena or maybe a couple times with some evolve gimmick back in the day, like with Death's Ear Thrall, but ultimately I just never played as them that much, and so therefore I miss out on the fact that, we're just going back and trying old stuff that I probably never even used in the first place. But no, what I've been lazy about doing in all of this is that I never really bother. Like I'll just do on the first episode, I just made the deck and then I'm just done. I don't even mess around with it. I don't tinker with it. Not that I'm trying to make it that much better or optimal, but even to just play into the theme a little more, right, where I get to, okay, the twist is finally back actually. Twist starter bundle, but the whole jip with this is, it'll only be there for a month. So why would you... Oh shit, that does look pretty sick though actually. 8 mana 6/6. Signature Cthulhu legendary from Whispers of the Old Gods. So it's just the same effect though, right? Deal damage equal to... Yeah, it's the same thing. Damn, that actually looks pretty bad. I think you can do that for almost all the old gods. It's like some sort of cultist carving basically into a wall of some deep sea chamber or whatever. Like that's what it makes you think of. 10 wild packs, 7 golden wild packs. Oh shit, they did actually do it with some of these. Nazoth, this one doesn't look actually that good. I mean, that is pretty sick. I can't deny it. So what is this considered to be? It's not just diamond. It's like it's something beyond diamond, right? Like what they did for Nurzul. It's like a special, I forget what it's even called. Whatever. So what even is the twist mode? What would be fun is if I could play even the gimmick deck that I'm doing in the twist mode too, but that hasn't gone so well in the past. Back with new hero decks, each with a unique passive effect and a hero power. Unlock each deck with just one card. The hell does that mean? Or it opens up like another fucking window. I don't need external help, dude. I can figure it out. Whizbang's Heroes. Oh, so they're even tying it into the current expansion too. They don't always mention that. Jump right in with one of Whizbang's Heroes, featuring pre-built multi-class decks. Oh, I might have to try this though, because... Oh shit. And see, now it's one of these I'm gonna end up liking so much, but then I won't be able to do it for, they'll get rid of it. Like, why shouldn't you always be able to do this? Maybe I'll do this next time because I wasn't planning, but I can try at least a couple of them. You have Illidan, Alakir, Archvillain, Rafam. So I mean, if you're gonna go by class, obviously Demon Hunter, Shaman, Warlock, Leroy for like what even is Leroy? He's supposed to be a paladin, right? Not a warrior. I don't even know actually. Reckless Reinforcements. The next minion you play this turn called... No, he must be a warrior because... Whatever, I just based on the clip that I remember. Leroy here, Kael'thas. Unlike this deck by owning Kael'thas Sunstrider. Wait, but oh, you have to make the card. Okay, I get it. Cthulhu, obviously we have the badass little thing there. Nozdormu, Lich King. But see, like, couldn't this be... It's not really doing like one for each class. Arphis, Nazoth, Bran, Guff. A lot of old god emphasis. Zul'jin, Dr. Boom, Forest Warden Amu, King Crush. This looks nothing like the King Crush though that you get in the normal, like the original one. And now they made all these stupid offshoots of it like King Plush or whatever. This is the state of the game in 2024. That they have to, recycle and shit all over their own creations. Sir Finley, Patches, Zyrella. Why do I always say Zyrelia? I always think that's an I for some reason. And of course, I don't even know who the fuck some of these characters are. Some of them are made just specifically for Hearthstone, but some of them are made for... Or like in later expansions of WoW that I'm not even familiar with. The Lich King, obviously. Nozdormu. I mean, Nozdormu should be like where both players are forced to only play as... But it's not even going to show. Oh, it does show it. Like a special version of Nozdormu that forces the game to be 15 seconds no matter what. That's always been one of my dreams, right? Like a non-consensual Nozdormu, where you just, by me having it in the deck, even if it comes at some negative cost, like I can only have even cost cards, or I can only have dragons in my deck, or whatever, right? You start the game and every turn is 15 seconds guaranteed for both players, forced, right? They don't have to have theirs in there or whatever. Yeah, we can maybe mess around with that next time, or if I have time here. But my point was that today I'll try to iterate on the deck a little bit, but I've been lazy with doing that with these. Like, I'll just start the first time and decide on the deck, and then I'll just keep it the whole time for like the whole month or whatever that I do this. And I'll do this into June as well, because I started kind of late. Like, I did the first maybe 1 or 2 episodes in May I did with Whizbang carrying over, because I was doing that sort of Whizbang gauntlet to see who would win more games or whatever. So I don't even have that much dust to really be able to build this, so maybe I will cheap out again and not even iterate on it. But here's kind of the rules of this gimmick deck. I want to use, every card has to either involve evolving, right? Like, either I have to evolve one of my own things or devolve one of their things. So that's all the spells are going to have to do with that, or the minions. And then everything else would have to do with, you know, some kind of similar effect on a minion. Like, even this, it has to mention transforming, basically. Or like summon a copy, like, you know, doppelgangster or this or that. Like, do I not even have any gold or what? 140 gold. I'm really fucking strapped for resources to the point where I can't really even do anything. Or I would have to just like, I would just have to basically wait until or I would have to like go through and disenchant stuff. Like, what else do I even have on here? We have all like the druid stuff, I guess. I don't know, I don't even really feel like fucking bothering doing this, but you know, this is one of the downsides of doing these sort of short sessions, that you kind of feel like just going in and just playing, because you only have like an hour. I'll spend the whole hour just doing this fucking deck building. So obviously all these I would have just made. Wave of Nostalgia, which is kind of what all these decks are in a way all about. Like, you're trying to use some older mechanics. I mean, not that I only use old cards, but if your deck started with no duplicates, equip the Staff of the 9 Frogs, which is what? Just frog, Staff of the 9 Frogs. After you hear attack, summon a 1/1 frog with taunt. Each frog is bigger than the last, and it can go up to 9, and then of course maybe there's some way to increase the durability to make it even better. That's kind of fun, actually. I didn't make that, though. I must have just got... Oh, I got it with, like, whatever stupid... They give you, like, a freebie deck here that you can just choose. But no, it's... Those are kind of the rule set, is, okay, like, every card is going to have to fit into that. This transforms something, transform, so they have to mention the word transform, or they have to be... what else did my minions have that I was saying? Or they have to like summon a copy of themselves to at least play into that gimmick mechanic. So for example, Doppelgangster is one. There's a couple other ones that I was gonna do, but now I've forgotten. I guess this one doesn't fit into that theme though. It's just a good value card, which is kind of not what the point of this entirely is. Summon a copy, transform, even if not in the best way. Each turn this in your hand, transform. Transform all minions, transform into dragons, even though that doesn't do anything. Stormbringer's pretty good. Where is even Wave of Nostalgia is there? Summon a 4, 5, 6. Okay, again, at least that kind of fits into the whole evolve mindset. And even this isn't that good. Like, again, the point isn't for equality, it's just to fit into whatever gimmick or idea you're doing. So the one card that almost doesn't belong here is this. But again, unless I can make something else good, I almost can't even decide. Like, I'm not going to use this despite the fact that I... like, some of these are actually pretty good to have. I don't think I'll ever use this in my whole life, though. Murloc Overload, I don't really care. I've never really liked playing as Murlocs too much. Let's use that to make something, like summon a copy. There was some other card besides Doppelgangster that I had in mind, but now I can't remember what it is. Oh yeah, like Serenite Chain Gang. Could be good. But let's do Doppelgangster just because... Wait, why doesn't it even show up here? What could it say if it's not... What? Or is it like D-O-P-P-E-L? What could it say? Oh, I thought this was actually epic for some reason. Why don't we make... I don't really even want to have multiple of some of these. Like, I could just have one of each just for the sake of it. So we'll put, you know, just so we can check the boxes of saying we have each of them. Like, we do this, we do this. Let's see what else we'll say. Summon a copy and just transform. But no, this is a difficult... Oh, shit. This is a difficult way to do it because I'm so strapped on resources. The totem, summon a copy of random minion from your hand. That's too expensive. This one is actually kind of obligatory too. Maybe I'll disenchant another legendary to do it, because of course I love elusive, if nothing else, and it's high cost. So summon a copy of each minion in your hand, but the fact that they die, you know, at least if they say it dies at the end of the turn, so it'll attack everything. Then if they survive, I can evolve them, and then they would have died at the end of the turn, but now they won't because you know, you evolve them to sort of subvert that. But battle cry and quick draw. So isn't this effectively for the same purpose? Like, I don't get whatever. Like, just the fact that you can do it again. Use a friendly mech, summon a copy. Okay, mech, I don't care. After you play this minion, the same attack, summon a copy of it. That's kind of too much work. If you have spell damage, that's probably not going to happen. There's really not that many cards in the whole game that do that. After it survives damage, like, I guess you could maybe do that. Draw another undead. Like, let's just make it just for the sake of it. And then what I want to do is I want to make at least one of those just to have it. So we'll have to do another legendary, and then we'll transform it, I guess. Or we'll look for transform effects, I mean. Fuck all the stuff. You obviously can't disenchant. I mean, I'm probably not going to use that either, as much as it is actually a good card. After you play a Murloc, deal 1 damage to all enemies, right? But when am I going to play a Murloc deck? But that's good with, like, the poison effect as, like, a good one-shot AoE type of thing. So we're going to go again, and we're going to say summon. I guess this worked out pretty well. Even if I'm giving up some class legendaries of the very class that I'm playing right now, I'm still okay with that. All right, so that's all good. So let's just look for one more thing, transform. Is there any good transform card that I don't have? Devolving missiles, I don't care too much about that. Like, I'm more interested in the ones that affect me. Right, transform enemies into 1/1 Murlocs, excavated twice. If this would transform, summon that minion instead. That is kind of badass, but I guess I don't care too much about it. After this minion attacks a hero, don't really care about that. This one is kind of necessary. Let's see if we can't find another one to disenchant. This one is epic though, so I don't want to bother with that. Now, I do kind of want this. It's not that good of a card, but it just is one of the original ones that feels like it's, you know, kind of necessary to have in there. Transform your weapon, don't really care about that, although I do like the idea behind it. Like, you're evolving even your weapons now. Each turn this in your hand, transform a copy of 5/5. I'm not really too crazy about even that one. After here, oh, this is very necessary. If you play an elemental last turn, transform an enemy into a 0/1 frog with taunt. Don't really care about that. 4/4 copy. Okay, so the only ones I want is I need one of these for sure. Right, the little box fire thing, and then I need at least that one. So I need like 500 more, and I think I'll disenchant that stupid guy I was just talking about that I'm not going to use either. This one. If your deck started, like, it's a cool effect, but again, I'm not going to use it because it doesn't mention the word transform, does it? It just summons one. So for the rest of the game, your overload cards cost 1 less. I'm also not going to use that one, so this is making it relatively easy for me. So summon a, I'm just using the welfare bootleg deck that they give you, that's like you know, whatever, choose one because you haven't played the game in a while or whatever. So it's that holiday break one. It feels like you should have that, but again, I don't care so much about the devolve effects. In fact, I might even get rid of all of them just to make way for what I'm doing here. So we'll make one of these, and then pretty much the only other thing I want is that. So I'm pretty satisfied with this. Let's maybe remake the deck from scratch, right? And we'll use this little thirst trap. Oh shit. I mean, Whizbang doesn't really need to be there because it's not much of a deck. Yeah, that was a fun little interlude that we did Whizbang unexpectedly. So what classes remain in my gauntlet here? We basically have Paladin and Mage left. I feel like we have one more, but Paladin, Mage, and then obviously Rogue we kind of skipped out on because it vanished out of my mind when I was, you know, that was one of my first two that I was supposed to do for like my underplayed class round robin at the beginning, with Priest and Rogue being my two least played classes in the whole history of the game. And then the other thing beyond that is just, we would have Paladin where I'll probably mess around with the Exodia type thing, Exodia Uther with the 4 horsemen as at least one fun mechanic and maybe something else. And then we have one other thing where we get to basically we would do mage with some of the other elusive stuff. Hang on, my thing is kind of bugging out a little bit. I don't know why it looks like this. The fuck is going on? All right. So we'll go and we'll just do what we just saw there. So again, let's actually just look through the lens of this. Okay, transform. Let me actually exclude. We're not going to be able to put double copies of stuff because I have too many cards now to fit in, which is kind of a good problem to have. But I'm going to exclude the ones that affect my opponent's minions now. I'm just only going to try to do my own. You know what the problem is, though? I'm not going to have enough minions, period. Even with the whole consideration that I'm summoning like a double copy each time, I'm still not going to be able to do it because... Right, like I'll have just too few. That was the problem I was running into. This is like the same cost, so that's not quite as exciting, but the one that costs 3 more, this one's very good as well. I'm not going to worry about the devolve type effects like this. I guess this was like the original devolve. Not really, though. It's just more like a polymorph single target, but like this is effectively that. Like, how many Murlocs are going to be really that good? So it's effectively... You know, just a mass polymorph. Transform enemy minion, but you'll get like some sort of crazy synergy that actually ends up winning them the game. This one's good because it at least does both. Right, the frog is kind of unnecessary and not really that exciting or random. This card's not very good, but I'll do it anyway. Ragnaros defeats the whole random excitement effect. So we have a good amount there. This one's no good. This one's not really necessary. None of those were really that good in the first place. I was just doing it just to fill stuff in. Draw minion interest from all other minions into friendly copies of it. All other friendly minions into copies of it. Let's do now summon a copy. Right, and so I'm trying to avoid having 2 copies of anything, and I'm also trying to avoid... Although effectively that feels like having 2 copies of it. This one doesn't even seem that good. Okay, so now we'll have room for... basically one of 2 things. We could either do all the ones that affect my opponent, or I could fit in some of these other ones that I just left out. So let me think. I guess we could fit in basically most of those, just... Or did I forget maybe this one? No, I hadn't. You would think, oh, you should have 2 of the thing that the whole deck and mechanic is named after in Evolve, but I won't even do that because I just want a variety of stuff. We'll do one of these. We'll do one of these, I guess. Damn, we don't even have enough, as much as I'm saying how much of a foregone conclusion it should be. But the one thing I'm missing in extreme amounts is actual minions, right, that I would be able to play this stuff on. So let me see what else there is. How can there be so few? Oh, I think Doppelgangster actually was excluded, though, right? Just because it doesn't actually say it quite like that. Summon 2 copies of it. Or, like, yeah, really, I should just look up like that. Summon 2... Something else might say that. Summon 2 copies of it. That's not really the right way that you want it to happen, though. Summon 2 random Murlocs. Oh, yeah, this is almost something you ought to have. Summon 2 copies of this, corrupt, fill your board with this, and then you could have... Yeah, see, this makes that one interaction that I was so excited about last time seem like not a big deal, right? I'm something of a carnival clown myself for getting so hyped up. It was the stupid-ass Heroic, right? That someone's like, make a 1/1 copy of each of this. But that must have been before. I was like, wow, what a cool interaction that you would have to have a Warlock card to make that happen, but it's almost meant for Evolve because you have a board full of like 9 cost minions or 8 cost, whatever Heroic cost, right? And they're all 8 cost, so it's perfect for Evolve, but this makes it a little more effective that way. So we could just disenchant an epic card, I guess, now. Overdraft, you can't do. There's got to be something here I can just get rid of. Draw a card. Next nature spell costs 1 less. Again, I'm not going to use that anyway necessarily. So, yeah, I should almost do it that way, though. Summon, you have to go through each thing and say, summon 2, then summon 3, then summon 4. Like, what the fuck? So even if you don't get that effect, it's still good, because you're going to immediately do each of these things into an evolve effect. Summon 3 copies of this minion. Choose a minion, summon 3 copies of it. Like, that would actually be legitimate. Summon 4 copies of something, summon 5 copies of something. I don't fucking know. Like, I'm so out of touch with modern cards that I wouldn't even know, right, if any of these sorts of things exist. As if I should have to do it like this, but... Summon 8 copies of... Yeah, right. So let's try to make that one too, then. We'll try to disenchant another couple epics here. Overdraft, Unstable Evolution, Farsight. So many of these things I wouldn't even want to use, or so many of them that I have like multiple copies of that I wouldn't even care about because, yeah, really, when am I gonna use some stuff like this? And so many of these cards they made undisenchantable, even though you would have originally had to spend dust to make them. So that's kind of stupid, right? You can't even get a rebate if I crafted some legendary that you used to have to be able to craft, but now they made it like a standard card that everybody just gets. But then what about the dust that I used on it? You don't get a rebate for that, right? Like, what was it? Summon 3 copies of it. Oh, this didn't even require that much dust, but I kind of just overreacted. We're pretty close to actually being able to do this. So what did I miss out on? I just had summon 2 copies, summon 3 copies, summon a copy we already pretty much did. We have 4 cards left, and I should be able to fill that in with maybe just a few more minions that are going to mention the transform effect. I had no problem actually getting the dust aspect done because, like, you should almost have Faceless Manipulator. Let's do another legendary. Let's get rid of all these fucking shaman legendaries that I guess I'm not going to use. If there's another one, I feel like this one I actually want to keep because I've never really used this before, and that could be fun if I want to use it, but there's got to be one that I wouldn't just genuinely want. But again, the majority of them you're not even going to be able to make. Or would I dare get rid of Whizbang when I just, would have disenchanted a lot to get it, right? But those are at least cost effective because you get so much value out of them. For fuck's sake, why can't I at least do one of these? Or this one I don't even remember making, so I must have just randomly got it. That's also a card I haven't ever used before, right? Or I don't feel like I barely even seen anybody use it either. It's the only neutral hero like in the game. Okay, so we got 4 things left, and again, they have to fit into these effects. I guess we could do epic. So what was I trying to even make? What the fuck? How do I not have anything? What was I trying to do? Transform. I'll just do some of these random minions I got. Oh, like Faceless Manipulator. I mean, it fits with the theme, and I would be allowed to use it, right? I feel like I should have it. I don't know why it's so hard for me to... Fuck. There's got to be one legendary I can disenchant here. And if I do that, it'll just show too many of them. How could there not be one? Yeah, fuck. Wait. Oh, it just mentions legendary. It's not actually legendary itself. God damn it. I mean, I did get a lot of dust out of those shaman cards, to be fair, so... How can there not be a single one? And I think I only used, like, that card once, right, when I was doing my little druid rotation. Come on, man. All of these are obviously in there. You can't disenchant that, can't disenchant that, can't disenchant that. All upon the power of the elements. 2, 3. I hate to do it to you, bro, but I might have to. Fuck. Deal 6 damage to that. Because, yeah, it feels appropriate. Because, yes, it's just going to copy one of your opponent's minions, and it's not that exciting. But it just feels like the ultimate card for this. 6 damage to enemy hero. I mean, it's a fun card, but I guess I can use it somewhere down along the line, and I'm probably never going to be able to do that. So, all we have to do is Faceless Manipulator. And that is a card I haven't used in a really long time. Or yeah, could you make a deck with only faceless minions that actually have the word faceless in the name? Like, would there be enough of them? You would have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. You almost could. Or, I mean, you could in the sense that that would be another gimmick we could do, but it's going to be so pointless and so bad. Right, but then you can have whatever other 13 meta random spells that you want to put in there. So we're going to go ahead, put that in there, and then what else is missing? I'm kind of shocked that there's nothing else I can fit. I guess I'll just have to take these. Like, what else can I do? Or the whole dragon thing is kind of dumb. Like, why would I even want that? Draw a minion, transform all other friendly minions into a copy of it, which, again, that could turn out to be really bad, but some of the fun of it is just the randomness that sometimes it can fuck you over. If you look through, let me see one more time. Summon a copy. Right, we have all the cards really in the game that mention that, of which there aren't that many, or at least in a relevant way that won't like die at the end of the turn or require some other effect that I'm obviously not going to have. At least those ones are pretty obligatory, that I can't believe I was playing it up to this point without that. This arguably you could justify, but it's too much work. Like, you have to... And the fact that you're destroying something defeats the purpose too. Right, like, I don't really care. That clown is actually god level. Yeah, like, what is the difference between that clown and Heroic? Right, if you, oh, it won't show me it now. That's so lame, dude. But I imagine they came out at different times, or I don't even remember when Heroic came out. Yeah, let's look through this once more. So, again, most of these effects are to do with me, right, evolving my stuff. This one's kind of weird, but if you don't like the roll that you get, basically. And then... a couple of them are going to be for my opponent. See, like, even this has nothing to do with evolve. It's just like you're still trying to stay consistent with the transform mechanic, because actually, to my credit, it's not like, oh, you know, I don't have enough dust or I can't make all the cards that would fit in this deck. I honestly made like every single card that mentions these mechanics. There just aren't enough in the game, apparently, which is kind of surprising. Right, between transform and between summon and copy, right, I have basically every single one that would make sense to fit in here. Again, not even based on any high standard that is good or not, just if you think about the minion situation, this is the one problem that I have, right? I don't have enough minions, period, and I especially don't have enough low-cost minions, so, yeah, like, how can there be that few? And a lot of these have to do with different effects, too, right? They don't even have anything to do with, like, this is good because... well, not really, though. I mean, it's a 5 cost that... that kind of fits a little bit with this. Transform one of your minions into a copy of this. Summon a 3/3 copy, blah, blah, blah. All this stuff is dumb. Whenever you draw a card, transform a legendary minion. Transform all neutral cards in your deck into random cards from your class. Why was I never aware of this card? This is like a pseudo-renounced darkness, isn't it? Holy shit, I could make a whole thing just based on this. Transform all neutral cards in your deck into random cards from your class. So you could do like your own class, Renounced Darkness. Wow. The anti-Renounced Darkness. Because you could just have a class, like a deck with only neutral cards in it. And that would be so fun. You know, this would feel almost pretty fitting with the evolve thing. And there might have been like a Tavern Brawl that actually encapsulates some of these mechanics that I do, right? Like... in this Tavern Brawl, I don't really ever play them, so I don't even know, but every minion in both players' decks is elusive, or every minion is, or everything to do with evolve, so they would make their own gimmicks like that, but the problem is, you could only play it then for a short period of time, and it would be less fun because you're kind of forced into it, so everybody gets to, everybody's going to be doing it and already know what to expect, right? Whereas here, at least it's a little fresh. But the only thing I'm a little bit iffy about is the fact that of this other stupid Caulifero guy, right? Like, I don't really get why he's in there or what it has to do with anything, and it's kind of dumb, and it's probably going to fuck me over. Transform into random dragons, you know, that has nothing to do with anything. Let's just look at my minion curve, right? I have 0 2-cost minions. I have 3 3-cost minions. I have 1 2 3 4-cost minions. I have 1 2 3 5-cost minions. I have 1 2 7-cost minions. Like, it's so fucking bad when it comes to that. Like, I love it. If you try to make a deck that's committed to this, oh, it's built around evolve, but what the fuck do you evolve? Like, we're really gonna have to take advantage of the fact that... let's actually give these a name, because that's just kind of boring, right? What's a fun name to do with evolve that I could come up with? Like, I don't know. I'll just put evolve. I don't know. There's no clever name or pun to do with evolve. But no, like, the curve looks okay. Like, you have a lot of 1-cost, whatever, but there's just no minions. So you'll be sitting on it. Or what I was having to do with when I was playing this on the last couple episodes is I would have to summon a totem and then evolve that and just deal with it and try to, you know, ramp up from there. So let's just go forward and just do this. And I might mess around with the twist mode at some point here. Yeah, basically the rest of this month I'll still do Shaman because I didn't give it the proper respect, and actually this is making it look a lot more fun. See, even though this deck might not be that much better, although it's probably at least a little better, it's much better when it comes to the theme because it's much more consistent. It has, you know, all the stuff that summons copies that I didn't have before, Doppelgangster and stuff like that, which was even, you know, relevant at the time when Evolve first came out. Right, that was the first classic interaction with it. And I've never really used it since, and I barely used it even then. You know, I always said I liked this Thrall guy, Deathseer Thrall, the Thrall hero, when it, you know, first came out, but I never really got a chance to use it. So as much as I loved Rexar, but I didn't play as it that much, or I love this one, but I just didn't use it. You know, these just aren't classes that I play that much. Hey, Seth, how's it going? Good morning. It's night for me. Okay, so let's try to rely on the totems, or I guess even this could be good. It's really the AoE evolves that you have to run away with in the game. I hate how this kind of just ruins and undercuts my whole... This is like too good, man. At least for this interaction. Or 3 a.m. for you? I guess that's kind of night too. We could coin this out and then immediately transform one of them, which given how... Wait. Oh shit, my math is all wrong. Fuck, I just wasted my coin. I don't know why I thought I could do that. Yeah, imagine having to actually live off totems here because of how bad and terrible the curve is with all of these. And really, it's not even my fault, but right, because within the criteria that I have for this deck, it would be impossible to do it any other way. If you're holding a dragon, gain an empty mana crystal. Okay, we'll just do this one, and then I can't even use the portal, so that's fine. Or I always call them portals, so it's just a location. Miniaturize, gain 1 spell damage or draw a spell. And of course, I have no idea what kind of things people would be using, but you would think at this relatively low rank, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. But you sometimes can be woefully surprised. Yeah, let's see what we get for that. 5/5. That's pretty worth it. I mean, a lot of it's just going to come down to the base statting of stuff that you get. Like, you know, oh, you get a 5/5 for 5. Like, it's not really that exciting as far as the effect, but... You know, most of the effects you're going to miss out on. That's what's not fun about Evolve. That, oh, it'll be a battle cry, it'll be this and that. That's just not relevant. Yeah, that's not a big deal either. Living Roots. Revolve would be pointless. Let's do this little stupid weapon, I guess. Transform one of your minions into random ones that cost 1 more, or actually both of them. Now, there'd be no reason not to just... you know, trade in, and you're basically going to get an effective heal from it too. And so my whole style of play too is sort of indiscriminate, where like if I have an evolve effect, I'll just do it, right? No matter what. It doesn't matter if I'm winning and if it might hurt me. Like, I like the effects that I have and it could fuck me up, I'll still do it. And in fact, that was almost a rule that I set. That's not like a hard rule, but like if I'm about to pose lethal, I can't do it. I have to BM them and wait until I play every evolve effect first, and then when I have none left, right, like my hand is empty or whatever, I don't have any actual valid evolve plays, then I could win the game. It doesn't mean I have to summon everything, it just means, you know, like, oh, if I have Doppelgangster and nothing else, and I can lethal them, then I'll just do it. But if I had a way to transform it, then I have to see that play out first. All these random rules that I do on top of already doing what is a, you know, suboptimal format, but... That's probably how I'll end off this whole gauntlet of going through every class, though. Once I get to Death Knight and Demon Hunter will be the last ones. So we have Shaman, then I'll do Paladin, then I'll do Mage, then I'll do Rogue, then I'll do Demon Hunter, and then I'll do Death Knight, something like that. Right, so for those last two, I might actually do a meta deck and try to get to Legend Rank 1 for the first time ever, because, you know, I always get to Legend, but then I get bored of it, and I don't even feel like doing it. This is not the best spot to be in for the simple fact that, you know, we can just hit you in the face. We can kill that thing with my weapon. And so now I can do, we can do this, and then if I'm not satisfied with one of them, I guess I could do this again. Or no, wait, why didn't I just... Whatever, who cares? Or of course, I knew that was going to happen from the evolve effect, so therefore, at the end of your turn, deal 2 damage to all enemies, honorable kill, restore 4 health to your hero. I mean, that's pretty beautifully statted, if nothing else. Yeah, this can be pretty annoying to deal with too. Although maybe not at this stage in the game. And yeah, see, like, imagine losing to this. This is the flex that I get. I don't always win games with these gimmick decks, but when I do, I get to shit all over my opponent, because it would be really a clown show if you were to ever lose to me, even at a low rank. Like, obviously what I'm using is utter garbage, where I just overcommit to a particular mechanic and they'll still outlast me somehow, even as I'm basically talking trash. Overkill, gain 3 armor. I don't really care too much about it, but for now, the problem that I'm going to do is I'm going to overcommit, right? Like, I should just leave it, and then, you know, we'll sort of share the love a little bit with respect to try to evolve some of these as much as I can. 5/5, draw a holy spell and a shadow spell, which you're not really going to even have, although I didn't mind necessarily the statting on that. 4/6. I was almost going to try to do the totem, but oh, that's what I'm waiting for. You know, the chances are this is going to be pretty good, but I kind of like the effect and everything. Let's just do the totem. 3/2. So that's a pretty nasty board. You keep doing it until you get something that's actually exciting, and it even hits your stupid face too. Right, free consecration. Yeah, we're literally role-playing as a paladin. Every horde player's dream in vanilla, where you get to, you know, play the one class that you'd be excluded from. Okay, look, dude, we're dealing with actual degenerate power creep over here. Spell damage 1 turn only, so I want to save some of this back, but also it's going to be difficult to do that for the simple reason that yeah, one thing that's good about this is it's basically a healing deck too, right? You can trade in as much as you want and it doesn't matter, because look, I'll heal that for free, right? You just get an 8/8. Fuck it, it doesn't matter. So it's good that you're dragging the game out, because I get to play all my interactions and have all the more fun with it, right? I didn't want it to end so soon. In fact, I couldn't have ended it so soon. That's my best hope, is just to have them resign though, because I'll drag it out so long, not to BM them, but to meet my condition of what I have to do. Clearly, they're going to have an answer for everything, though, because what they're using seems to be very... I won't even say very good, but it's just... Every time I think I'm going to win, they always pull something out. So I'll always underestimate a deck, because I don't know whether they're actually using something better or not. They could be using something as shitty as me, but it doesn't feel like it. It seems kind of thematic, which I guess my decks always are. You can accuse them of many things, but... they are thematic. They're just shit because they overcommit to something that's not even good in the first place, and they don't have a win condition, right? They're just kind of... Okay, that's still not that big of a deal, honestly. Right? More beautiful targets for my evolution. Fuck. So I didn't get to see all the other interactions there, and of course I do like this Ner'zhul even, but I just don't like how they do the portrait on him, or I don't like how they cucked me on getting the proper Ner'zhul, which is going to be, what do you call it, the one in the frozen armor for the Lich King and all that. In fact, I better double check in case they'll release it for like 1 week, and then if I don't get it, I'll be screwed. Right, we got Arthas, we got the Clown Face Arthas, all these ones I don't really care. Death Metal King, Festive Sigh, like look at all the shitty ones that you get. You could say, oh, they're saving it for a special occasion, but that should have been like the first one that you get, or it should have at least been the 1,000. It should either be the level 100 reward for the Ner'zhul and the armor, or it should be that voice doesn't even match his face there either. It makes more sense when he's wearing the helmet, and that's kind of channeling Ner'zhul. It should be the 1,000 win reward either too, which I forget what that even is. Where the fuck is it? Oh, it's this one, Kingslayer. I'm something of a Kingslayer myself. Like, if you kill Arthas, you become a Kingslayer too. Isn't that the title you even get, like in Rats? So that's kind of weird. They call him a Kingslayer because he killed his daddy, but then you kill him and then you become the Kingslayer too. I always love that sort of theory that you could have, where when the father's ghost, right, Tyrannus says to him, like, no king rules forever, my son, it's like it's not actually him, it's actually Yogg-Saron, and maybe in retcon they actually have made it this, because over some expansion they'll eventually reveal that was the case. But like it's actually Yaxaran saying that and sort of, you know, channeling his ghost, you know, taking the form of his dad's ghost, just to create Bolvar as a Lich King that he could take advantage of or whatever, right? That he can manipulate and get somebody else there. So you don't always need a Lich King. He just says that and lies to everybody and tricks them, right? To get Bolvar's stupid ass up there so he can take advantage of it. And he uses the same language as Yogg does, right? He will learn, no king rules forever, he says in one of the visions in Ulduar. And so that's exactly what he says there, the dad. So that was at least a good first showing for my final version of the deck, probably, because I'm not going to fuck around with it too much more. I wouldn't mind getting like Baroness Vosh or some other things in there, but generally I'm at least satisfied with the changes I made to it. The main weakness is that there's not enough low-cost minions, but I don't think I can even fix that because there just doesn't seem to be anything that... You know, there doesn't seem to be anything that actually fits into the theme of it that I should be allowed to use. I'm not the biggest fan of that because you don't get to immediately evolve them, but... You know, we need like an AoE thing that we can do, and I'm just not getting one. I'm not even a fan of these kind of negative, you know, devolve ones, but they're just, you know, you just got to make the best of what you have here. Random equals fun. That's often my standard, but they can get rid of the too many of these too easily. Right, this would be cute to do, but they're just not going to give me enough time to do it. It's going to be a degenerate priest that drags this shit out for too long anyway. So in a 9-1, which is really not a big deal at all. And I could even devolve this, turn it into a fucking Murloc, so you negate the death rattle effect. So in some ways it can, you know, act effectively as a silence. Which is like the only way you can get a silence in some games that I won't mention that don't have silence as a mechanic, like Plants vs. Zombies Heroes, where, you know, you would have to transform it into like a zucchini thing, right? Use the zucchini genie to basically... Now, I almost don't even want to do Thrall because I just want to get this to be actually as good as possible before I do that. It doesn't even matter what cost these are, right? I just want as many things out there as possible. Damn it. He's just not letting me build up a good enough board for... I guess I'll just settle for this. You'll have 2 5 costs, which is actually pretty good. Or, you know, I could just do that, too. Fuck it. I'm going to hold off on Thrall even more. Because on average, this is probably still going to be better. And then I can maybe do it to these later. Because you may as well do that, although I don't really even want to kill that. So again, it's not so much about how good these are, it's just more about what you can turn them into. So please just let these stick around, but they've had infinite amounts of removal here too. And this isn't a priest, this is an inaccurate picture because he's using a fucking sword. Priests can't use swords, but obviously it's one of those hero class type of shenanigans like, well, Anduin can do it because he's not just a regular priest, but... What the fuck, dude? Special privileges in the Warcraft universe, right? That's what the 1% gets to do. They just get to ignore the rules that all the rest of us peasants have to follow. So we can go ahead and do this one too. And then Wave of Nostalgia would be bad because it's actually not a very good card. Because you're going to do it all minions, which means your opponent's minions too. So I don't want that to happen. But the only time I feel comfortable playing it... Oh, I should have waited to see what... What the fuck? That was actually a pretty bad draw too. Spell damage isn't going to help me. Look at the statting on that, dude. 7 mana, 2/8. Like, what the fuck is that? The only time you would use Wave of Nostalgia is when you get to specifically have their board completely cleared, right? This is pretty fun, though, right away. Like, I was having more trouble with it. I guess that's good that we played around that effect, though, then. Right? Where it only destroyed one thing. They're in actual dire straits territory. In fact, for all they know, they should just be dead because that Wind Fury could fuck them over, but they're kind of desperate for even what to do now. And this hero power is not even really that exciting because it's just like, you know, you're doing this, you're doing an evolution so many times every turn anyway that it's just one more. So we could devolve that, or I could just ignore it. I don't know. I don't have a really good way to trade in. Or fuck. We could do that, but I don't know if it's even worth it. It doesn't seem like the right time to do it. Fuck it, like what is he really gonna do? Fuck. I mean, 5 damage isn't that much to really do, but 4 attack is also a weird value that plays around. It's like the priest nightmare value, especially in early Hearthstone. They would be able to kill stuff with like, you know, 2 and below, or 5 and above, or whatever, even 3, but 4 would be their ultimate weakness. Now they're gonna heal for a little bit too much, but also I could just do this shit and you're just fucking dead. But now I won't be able to do it. Attack all other minions.
Victory proves nothing.
They keep resigning before I get the chance to properly BM them. Yeah, what a great streak. We're at bronze rank 10 and we're already fucking flying through these people. The one time I really get destroyed with these is when I play it at the beginning of the month, because... But it is the beginning of the month, right? So what the fuck? That it tends to be more competitive because all the tryhards who are going to get to legend eventually are already at the bottom, right? And playing against you, whereas in the middle or the end of the month, they're already there if they're going to, you know, try the ladder. Sometimes at the end of the month, it gets a little competitive just because everybody's trying to race up the ladder and sort of, you know, do it at the last second.
Could it be the son of Grommash?
Yeah, you have to discipline him since Grommash is no longer around to do it himself. But instead, Thrall had to spank his dumbass in some kind of Deus Ex Machina way where he's losing the fight, and then, yeah, even though I haven't played the game at that point, I just still kind of see... I've seen a lot of these cinematics and stuff, a lot of which are really good. I love the ones with Starfang, like the old soldier, and where he's like in the prison cell. They had some really good ones of that. But that's the sad part, is like they, you know, that's what the Warcraft movie could have and should have been, even though I haven't seen it. I should do a movie reaction to the Warcraft movie. They got like really negative reviews and shit, but you know, you have one job and they probably won't be faithful to the lore. Or as much as of a lore fan as I am, most of it comes from WoW and Warcraft 3. So I haven't even played Warcraft 1 or 2, but it's kind of deliberate because, you know, you want something to look forward to. It's like why I haven't played Half-Life episode 1 and 2 for DLC, or I haven't beaten Half-Life 1. It's not because I don't like the game or the series. Like, obviously I've beaten Half-Life 2 multiple times. I love Warcraft 3, I love WoW, but I deliberately didn't play 1 or 2 just because there's never going to be a Warcraft 4. So now I want to have something to look forward to, right? Not that I necessarily knew that all the time, but, you know, until they finally release Warcraft 4, which they never will, they're going to, you know, it'll give me at least something to still go back to. This is fine, but again, every value here is just too weak. But if they're just going to go face, then I'm fine with it. Right, my nightmare is if they just keep trading stuff in. Like, even the last game was kind of pissing me off that way, where I get to see the one guarantee of this deck is you're going to see fun, interesting interactions. Even if you don't win, it doesn't matter. Like, you're really just going to go face all the way, dude. Which is still kind of dangerous to me because now, you know, I'm tempted to trade in, but then I also don't want to trade in. Right, like, you should just do this. Even though I don't like it. In fact, maybe I should have still done that. Now what you get to do is you get to evolve, obviously. Well, I don't know if I even should. I could, like, summon a totem and do it. You can't worry too much about getting like a really high quality evolve at the beginning. It's just, you know what's funny that I keep seeing references to is Jerry Seinfeld in the 1990s went out, I've just been seeing this everywhere, went out with Shoshana, whatever, who was like a 17-year-old, so he was 38. But it's like, we've known this for a long time. It was in the news, like, you know, in the 90s and stuff. Why are they fucking making a big deal now? This is what people mean when they say like woke. oh, they're gonna go after Jerry Seinfeld, all these woke people. It's like, wow, did you know he went out with a 17-year-old? Yeah, we've known that for fucking decades. Like, why are you making a big deal about it now? Right, I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but you know, just whenever they want to get after you, they'll do it. Right, they'll bring up something from 30 years ago that's common knowledge and act like, oh, now it's the biggest revelation and it's the end of the world. Okay, so we could do Doppelgangster, but we don't have a proper AoE one. Of course, I love this card just because I love every card that's elusive, but I don't think I've ever even played it before. Maybe by, again, just some random other generation effect. I mean, the first two games weren't really this lopsided, where clearly what they're using is a very shitty deck. This is like a free-to-play new player playing in their first game ever, or it could be obviously just a bot using the basic card back. Like what influx of new players does this game actually even have? Because it probably isn't very many. So that's why I always assume it's got to be a bot. I'm a 2/2 undead peasant. I mean, you could just do this and then you can sort of trade everything in a certain way. I almost want to deny him the card draw. Like, what would be the best cost-effective thing? I guess the 3/5 for 5 is not very good, so you know, you get a 6/6, perfectly fine. 6 mana 6/6 is the end of the world. I'm surprised such a thing isn't banned, right? There'll be somebody who's superstitiously offended by that. There's certain things like that in some countries, like where they won't have a 13th floor because it's a bad omen, so they'll skip. They'll have floor 12 and floor 14. So you can make like a comedy bit. Speaking of Seinfeld, like, oh, he's on the floor after the 12th floor, and so they try to find floor 13, and you know, like the police are coming to save somebody's life or something, and they can't figure it out because they don't know that they don't have a floor 13, whatever. I guess I don't really have to do much of anything at all, but let's just trade everything in optimally, perfectly fine. And again, here's one of those instances where we would have to play everything properly, like 9/7. You would still have to play everything in an evolved fashion, so whether it's a bot or not, no sportsmanship for the Hall of Fame CPU, no good manners for these fucking stupid ass bots that ruin the game. Again, I'd rather wait in a queue time rather than play a bot, but you don't know for sure whether it is a bot. As soon as they emote, that must prove that it isn't, especially if they do it at some unexpected awkward time, or the way the bots would actually behave in like the whatever, like a solo adventure like Noxramas or something. If I emote, they'll immediately emote back, right, with some sort of canned line that they have. You can transform everything to legendary minions, so let's just do this. I don't necessarily want to... Actually, let's do that too. So we get a full board of legendary minions. I should have hit him in the face too, but I'm getting like a little bit too cocky now. Let's see what an amazing assortment we get. We get Gruul, we get Overlord, whatever. This doesn't matter. Cards that didn't start in your deck cost 4 less. But no, I just discovered a really cool card, that Worm Chick, that's like basically a neutral Renounced Darkness for your own class, which is pretty fucking awesome. I've never used that. I feel like I've probably not even seen that. All these sort of fun cards that probably nobody ever uses, and it's still like, wouldn't this prove that it's a fucking bot? Or maybe he just thinks his only win condition is to keep going face, but the problem is that might actually work for him because of the simple fact that, but no, we can get him like within arm's reach of dying, but I'm still not going to kill him. And the reason why is because I still have to play out all my other interactions. So let's just do this on whatever, pretty much everything. Or let's not do it on Gruul though. Do it as much as possible, and if you don't like the one that you get, you can always change it. 1/4 there is fine. 0/7, 6/7, 3/7, whatever. Or, you know, I should have kept that one because the lifesteal would have actually been good. So within my criteria, right, I can't win the game unless I have no choice. Like if Ragnaros gets summoned and I have 0 mana, so now I can't change it. But if it's like Jive Insight, then I would have to wait to play it or something. Right, so what other things do we have? we would have to play every evolve mechanic, not necessarily everything else. So there is no evolve mechanic, which means I could just win now, right? This is just transformation effects I don't really care about. So, right, there's nothing to actually even wait for unless I draw into one, but then I could just play it and just end the game. But then I might not be able to play it because then everything will have summoning sickness, so I'll have to play it and then wait and then draw another one next turn. Right, I have to do it first. So you would, unless you win with an effect, but I can get him like 1 HP first.
Pain, speak to me.
How astonishing.
Yeah, he really had to think about that play. Jive Insect is actually the perfect way to win the game too. Right, because that solves the problem. I get to evolve something, but I also get to kill you in the process of doing that. Or I guess I could have just done it and then hit you because, you know, it's not like I have to wait for summoning sickness because I AoE transformed everything. Yeah, we'll kind of stick to generally this one, but there's still a few things I'd like to add. You know, maybe Baroness Vosh. Maybe, again, that Zephyr guy or whatever, the guy who's the one cost that transforms every turn. That's the one that made me think of a Tavern Brawl. Like, this is the one that they would have put in automatically, right? There was one like that where every card in your deck is that guy, or it might have been like an Evolve theme one. Yeah, this isn't even a Diamond one. This is like something beyond Diamond, right? That's what they were saying. Like, Nurzul is the first one that's actually this higher tier of rarity. So that Clown is really good, but yeah, that's so deflating though. I was even gonna upload that as a clip, and now maybe I won't. But that people will clown me literally. Didn't you know there's this clown card that does the same thing as Harik?
I greet you. How astonishing.
He has kind of like a whispery, almost ASMR type voice, which maybe suits him later when he becomes the Lich King, but the true Lich King, unlike Clownface Arthas. I'm impressed at the longevity of this game, though. As much as I like it, I wouldn't have expected, really, that it would still be so popular. Even in, like, you know, on Twitch capacity and stuff like that. Like, it's more popular in Twitch and YouTube context, it seems like, at least, than Magic the Gathering. It always has more viewers than Magic overall, and that includes every category of Magic combined. Over-the-board stuff, tournaments, you know, every version of the game, arena, online, etc. And the reason why is because... The reason why is because of the simple fact that there is only one category for Magic. Like, there aren't separate ones for each of those. There are some other single-player ones, I guess, but... Or maybe there aren't even. I don't even know, but... But no, all those combined are still not as many viewers as this game, which I would even acknowledge as a fan of it. It's not in the most impressive state, but... You know, some of these decks we go against aren't this shitty though. Like that Priest one and the first one. Oh, that was the biggest mistake you could have possibly made, though. We should definitely do Evolve, and we could even do it with this. Right, so that's perfectly fine, Norman, for 1 turn. Rush immune while attacking. But you give me Doppelgangster, so I guess I feel compelled to do that. 3/7. It seems like a waste of a card that obviously you could spam, but it ends up working out pretty well. Swamp, that is such a weird one to get. You get Doppelgangster from an Evolve effect itself. Swap the cost of random spell in each player's hand. Or it'll be like a Doppelgangster Exodia. If you get 3 Doppelgangsters from the Evolve effect itself, you win the game automatically. Or we'll get like somehow the fucking Exodia Paladin, but you won't be able to get the full effect. Like, yeah, wait, how would that work if you... I don't know. Okay, Jive Insect I could do. This is also immune while attacking, so you don't really have... You could do this for an Evolve, I'm not really sure. Like, I almost feel compelled not to do anything and just...
What would the ancestors counsel?
Let's just leave it and let them deal with it. Yeah, let me actually see something. I'll look up Uther Death Knight hero card, right? I forget how this effect exactly works. Uther of the Ebon Blade. So it says, I haven't used this in a long time. Summon a 2/2 if you have all 4. Destroy the enemy hero. So if I was to get all 4 of them from an evolve effect or from some other discover some effect, right? Would that actually still work to end the game? That would be such an interesting interaction. Like I do an evolve and all 4 of them happen to come out at once, which it wouldn't even let you do that, I'm sure, but just hypothetically, if you somehow got it in some other way, which would be super unlikely, right? To even get one of them, let alone all of them. So we could do this, or we could, oh no, we should do this one. Which is dangerous, but I'll take my chances because, I mean, I can hit your stupid face still. So this is going to be a double evolve here. So, I mean, this card actually holds up pretty well. Just, it's only 5 cost. It's still pretty good for all other considerations. We didn't get really the best draw with that. Whenever you cast a spell, add a priest spell to your hand. Yeah, that wasn't very strong. 5 mana 3/3, 7 mana 2/5. We got some of the worst ones possible. We're getting trolled by RNG over here. They keep fucking around with Justicar. They make her a 6/4, then they make her cost 5 instead of 6. Like, who is really using Justicar in 2024 anyway? So my health is a big concern. I'd almost want to get like a taunt and make copies of it, or I'd want to get like a lifesteal. You can't do the other, or you could just do this, I guess, and hope that that'll be enough, but it probably won't. So let's do that one. Let's do this one. Let's do this one. Get you in the face. Or what I should always do is just get them within an arm's reach, like get them to 1 HP, and then whatever happens, happens. Like, what other evolve effects would I have to do? I guess this kind of counts, though, because it's not just transforming itself, it's transforming everything. You would have to do Jive Insight, you would have to do both of these, so this means I have to last out, like, forever. So now I'm actually going to lose on my own condition. Fuck. I have too many effects to have to do. Or I should try to play... Fuck. Or just get them to try to concede, but I should have played spells to try to get pre-spells so that I could heal myself, of course. Exactly as intended, because of the simple fact that you would know that you would get Lyra the Sun Shard and be able to do that. And of course, this is a very spell-heavy deck when it comes to, you know, the fact that I normally am not a big spell user. In fact, my whole idea behind some of these is that I specifically use elusive so much to try to stop other people from using spells too. And my whole playstyle is like on the board and everything. So like, how many minions would I actually have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You have 9 minions and basically the rest, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, you definitely have more spells, but you do have a couple odd cards like the portal. Location technically isn't a spell, or the oh shit, don't tell me they're doing some kind of maintenance at this time of night. And then the obviously Deathseer Thrall is not that. But yeah, at least you can finally play the twist mode again, but this one seems pretty cool, so now I'm gonna neglect my, you know, actually doing this. I won't even bother trying it this time. I'll do it next time. I wasn't expecting to even be able to do it, but I don't know why they do that. Like, they'll leave it off for a month or even like 2 months where oh, I didn't even realize I had gotten in one. You know, like the whole last month there was no twist mode. Like, why not just keep the same one? You'll make somebody spend $20 on some twist bundle just so that you can fucking make somebody spend $19.99 on a twist bundle thing, and then you'll make it so that you can never use it again, or it won't be, you know, it won't serve a purpose because it'll just be random stuff normally that you could use in wild, but you know, that twist experience won't even be there. So you're paying $20 just for the 1 month experience, and then you'll troll them by not even moving on to another twist mode. Or even if you did, then what are you going to spend $20 on that again? Like, why would you even bother doing that? But you'll also make a month break where the next month, oh, we're preparing for the next twist mode, so 1 month will be twist mode, then you'll take a break for a month, then you'll do another one. Why the fuck would you not just keep the same one, right, that you did the previous month for the next month while you wait for the next one, right? Just extend it on. What good does it do to just keep the format dormant like that? So you should have a good interaction with this if you just like wait till turn 4 and then you do it with the coin or whatever. We're gonna speed run our way to silver. I don't know why we're having such an easy time of it. Actually, this deck must be clearly that good. I mean, at least it's an improvement and it's more interesting than what I was doing before, but I guess it wouldn't take much for it to be an improvement. But yeah, at least I'm setting like such a clear criteria with this, because sometimes people don't understand what I'm doing with some of these decks, right? Like, it's just like, oh, I want to use a lot of elusive stuff, but it doesn't have to be only that, or it's sort of more like a vague condition. This one's very clear, right? Every card has to mention transform or copy, right? Transform as in evolve, and summon a copy as in something that's just conducive to evolving very well. Well, it's a good thing there are AFK, because I don't have jack shit I can do in the early game, but it hasn't hurt me too much in most of these. But no, this makes me almost crave a format that you could make yourself, just like a custom thing where, whatever, you can only use like certain fun things, like where I would do my own tournament, and you know what, I'll just do this. You know, your own tournament where you can only use one of these various fun mechanics. There's so many cards too like that I probably just don't even realize, but I love the transformative nature of them, like that chick, whatever, the worm, that's gonna make all your neutral cards the cards of your same class that you're playing as. We could be greedy and do this just because we get to assume they're not gonna actually play the game. Okay, that's fine too. Yeah, they've been watching my stream. They see how good this deck is and they know they don't have a chance. That's the fastest I've ever gotten one of those monthly card backs in doing this whole sub-series, because obviously you're not going to be able to do anything else. Like, these decks are so bad that, and they're all I really play, that it'd be interesting to put them against each other though, and that's like the tournament format I'm talking about. Like, which of these is the least bad out of all of them? I mean, Renounce can be sometimes pretty surprising.
Versus the Lich King.
Oh, as in Ner'zhul versus himself, huh? Except that Clownface Arthas is in there somewhere.
The one for my darkest visions.
My darkest vision, more like the one from the mirror every morning that I see, haha.
I see you've brought guests.
But yeah, they don't give Ner'zhul a very good send-off, or maybe in one of these later expansions they do try to bring that up again, but the way they deal with it in Wrath is like, oh, he's just not there anymore, he's just gone, and it's just Arthas, and Arthas plays the victim. Like, is it over, father? Like, what do you mean it's over, dude? You're the one who's doing all this shit. You could say, oh, he's corrupted, but corrupted by who at that point? Ner'zhul's not even there anymore, so what the fuck? Like, he overpowers Ner'zhul, but then he would go back to being good. I've just never got the writing of that. So he stays corrupted by Ner'zhul, but Ner'zhul is gone, and he overpowers the guy who corrupted him. Like he was the real villain. That's what people don't get. Ner'zhul's the one who planned all that. He planned for Arthas to come to Northrend, for him to get baited by the sword to kill Mal'Ganis. Like, that was all part of his plan, and so it's like, you're shortchanging how brilliant Ner'zhul was and undoing a really good character, but you're also giving Arthas too much credit. Arthas was just merely the pawn. Even if he was a very good one, he's like a rook instead of a pawn, but like, you know, he was still just part of the Lich King's plan. He wasn't really the big guy. Right, and then they try to turn him into this one big bad dude as like this very, you know, it's just oversimplification. It's easier to kind of sell that to people, but let's just leave it around and we can basically try to do the little Serenite Chain Gang plus a evolve with the coin all at once. So if you don't trade in, it's going to be a big mistake, but I don't see why you wouldn't do that. That's a very bland looking card back, at least from the part that we can see of it here. I love how they troll you with that too. Like, you can only see half of it here, so that's fine. And of course you can't see your own, but then even when you can see them on the side, right, you don't get to see the whole thing. Fuck. The joke's on you. You just wasted your AoE. Not that it would have done much for this anyway. There's a 3-2 and a... Man, we're getting kind of unlucky. 5 mana 3-2 and 5 mana 3-4. Right, both of which relying on battle cries, which you are going to see that a fair amount, but, you know, a lot of cards do suffer for that, but we're getting kind of unlucky these last couple games. We could do the other Serenite Chain Gang thing, but, you know, we'll get the Infuse to be able to upgrade it too, so we're getting some pretty good value plays, but now we're going to burn out at some point. Right, like it doesn't really seem like we have much of a chance in this one. I hope WoW Classic just stays up like forever, but for some reason they just always fuck it up. Right, like you think you do, but you don't. Just when they're finally doing something right, they'll find a way to mess it up.
Needs time to get ready.
That's like the alternate portrait, right? That I forget when they even added that. Man, we are kind of getting fucked. Like, I guess you can't complain too much, but... Or you gotta always have a way to re-roll it, but in that particular turn, I didn't have a way to do that. This isn't even bad. Like, we did get spoiled by that one Stormcaller or whatever, the 4-8. It's such a weird statting, though. Like, why would you ever want that? 4-8 with Wind Fury for 7. This is maybe a good arena card at certain points, but I love how Magic the Gathering is kind of copying this now. Like as far as the expansions, they did whatever, Murder at Karlov Manor instead of Castle Nathria, and then they did the other thing. I can't even remember the name of it now, but it's even the current expansion, but I'm still so forgetful. Whatever, it's like a Badlands Outlaws of Thunder Junction. You know, you might just want to do Unstable Evolution because I'm not too happy. Or actually, you definitely want to do it. I'm underestimating that this is a 6-cost card. Come on, give me a proper statting. Summon a 9/9 Blightboard with Charge and Taunt. Actually, why don't we just leave that then? Unless you have a way to somehow silence it, which I kind of doubt that you actually will. With Charge and Taunt, what a combination. And it's not even that bad. 5/1. That's an adequate response right there. Okay, that's still fine. Deal 4 and freeze it, so I am getting pretty fucking low. That there's no real reason to do. Their spell damage is actually scaring me a little bit. Like, what am I supposed to do here? I need like some evolution that's gonna give me like a lifesteal. Yeah, but like I need the taunt, so I can't really even do anything, but that's the thing that I want to use as Death Knight too. I'll try to do a meta deck, but I'll have that Headless Horseman in there just to whatever, just to try it because I haven't ever used that. And it's the first ever Death Knight hero card that I was practically begging for because I felt like they kind of deserved one because everybody else obviously has multiple. The only thing you're missing now for Death Knight is the Ner'zhul armor, which could be a hero card, I guess, too. But it could also be... Oh, shit. It could also be a case where you get to... You would need some kind of thing that's going to give you lifesteal. Like, I'm just going to lose otherwise. Fuck. But despite all my... everything good that I had going, I still, you know, it seemed kind of one-sided that his deck would just be too good, and then I kind of recovered and had some good plays, but then, right, I'm just getting too low on health. You got a fucking spell damage Death Knight over here, which I don't know how common that really is, but it makes sense for Frost at least.
Your ancestors will smile on you.
Well, you won't have any ancestors, including yourself and Arthas, right? What kind of fucking kids do they have running around? Did he have some little baby with Jaina that we don't know about?
Permission to speak.
That was at least a good kind of streak that we went on there. Right, all the way up to Bronze 3, which is still pretty good for the first episode, because normally it takes me a lot longer than that. Right, like in the whole month I might just get to silver, but normally we're not winning a lot of games because... maybe that's good enough. Oh, fuck. Whatever, we'll do one more. Yeah, at least this version of the deck is a little more interesting. Yeah, I haven't enjoyed doing Arena in a long time. Somehow. And they took off one of these other modes, too. I hate that whole idea with multiplayer games, like, oh, the mode requires active support, and they have to... you know, actively support it and have a player base. Like, in some games, you could just, like, host your own server. So, like, I want to host a server, like, a game that's with all these specific rules. You can only use 8 cost cards, and that's it. Like, why shouldn't I be able to do that? And if, you know, you create any sort of lobby match that you want, and if somebody wants to join, fine. If not, then don't. But, you know what I mean? Why should you have to... If it was, like, a fan-made game, I could understand that.
Greet you.
It's kind of a boring greeting. I haven't heard all of his voice lines, really. I keep forgetting to use them. I'll go through the whole fucking month and never use them. Yeah, you can't even see his fucking staff there either. How you go from an elemental shaman over here to a fucking Death Knight. Or the whole portrayal of the Death Knight is kind of wrong in a way. Because originally it was supposed to be like paladins who turned to the dark, right? Or who, whatever. Paladins would become corrupted like Arthas and become a Death Knight. It is sort of the way it's portrayed, but it doesn't have to be like that. Like Terran Gorfin was the first one, but... I don't know. The way Arthas portrayed it was one thing, but that's almost the interpretation. Like anybody could become a Death Knight, but it would be different for every class. So they kind of contradict themselves. Like Arthas is a paladin and he becomes a Death Knight, right? And the abilities are sort of semi-consistent too. Like there's a different version of some paladin abilities or interpretations on them. The point is that, you know, what if Jaina became corrupted and became a Death Knight? Oh, it would be like a Lich. Or what if Thrall became a Death Knight? It would be like the, you know, Deathseer. So this game kind of gives you those fan fiction answers, but it's kind of the same thing with becoming undead. It's like, if, you know, all the undead, the Forsaken, are like undead humans. But what about if a Tauren died and was raised by the Lich King? Why aren't there undead, you know, why aren't there undead Tauren then? Why aren't there undead of every race, right? Theoretically, that's what the Forsaken could have been, but it would have been too complicated, right, necessarily to do that. I don't know if this is really worth it, but you know, let's just try to clean up their board a little bit. Yeah, there's a few inconsistencies. Like when somebody becomes a Death Knight, they wouldn't all be the same Death Knights, right? It would be based on their class. So like when Starfang becomes a Death Knight, how is that the same? Like, okay, what if Starfang was a mage then? Right, what would he have been then? He would have become a Lich or something else. And so until we saw it portrayed in this game, we didn't have like a clear answer on that because it's almost inconsistent, right? When you become a member of the Scourge, I guess you're technically not a Death Knight then, but you're just some sort of other undead follower who has like plays into their own specialties that you had in real life. And then the other side of things is again with the Forsaken and the undeads, like wouldn't there be an undead version of every single thing, right? It wouldn't just be like humans. You have Thrall, but there's nothing to really do with Thrall, so maybe I'll just do this. I don't fucking know what's going on. I have to hope that it's going to hit that stupid ass 4-3, which is still pretty handy. And now you're almost going to be disincentivized to evolve, but you know, you still kind of have to. In fact, I couldn't even win like this, even if they would let me. Just leave it there for 5+ turns and fucking hit you in the face. But no, I would have to play every evolve effect anyway, just within my sort of rule set that I'm doing. But normally people will just resign before they let me do that. like BM them by playing every single evolve interaction that I potentially have. I'm not in a bad spot, but it doesn't mean I have to play them right now, right? In fact, I'm quite comfortable with what we have. Let's try to get the other one going then. 2, 3, 2, 2, and then we can play around with this maybe the next turn. I'm still fine with that. It's an 8, 8, and we can always evolve it later if I want. Or we could do it with Thrall now, so it'll be a 10 cost, and at some point it stops being useful. And the reason why is because, you know, once it gets over 10, there are stuff over 10, but there's only like one thing, or it gets stuck, right? There'll be an 11, but there won't be a 12 because it's like some sort of frost giant or something. Not really doing anything. These last couple of turns are just kind of waiting, and that one, even elusive won't save you, but of course the stupid ass divine shield will. So what we can do here is we can, damn it, it's almost suited for me to just not even worry about this. Like, so we'll do that and we'll hope that Ragnaros can take care of it. So I could do this one. And so I'm trying to covertly avoid, I'm trying to covertly avoid using an evolve effect just for Ragnaros' sake because he's doing pretty good work. But, you know, it's surprising that they wouldn't get rid of him for this long. But we can try to, oh, okay, there we go. Just as soon as I say that. Now we can do either Thrall or, but it's not going to be good enough. This is the problem. Or we could do this stupid, why would you do that? When you can tell my whole style of play is like this anyway. That it, you know, requires having minions on the board. You know, you could just individually do them here too, which I kind of like, but I'm also getting too low. So maybe I should just... I don't know, I feel almost more comfortable doing this, but there are definitely dangers to it. Right, like if they are able to deal with that, I'm kind of fucked. And of course you can still use your portal on elusive stuff because that doesn't count as a whatever spell or hero power. Theme Cleaner, also known as the anti-fun card, because it ruins all the kind of decks that I typically use with all the fun mechanics that are like transformative, like Renounced Darkness, etc. Explore and Goro, that worm chick that we just saw today. It's amazing how many fun cards like that there are that I probably haven't even noticed or I've forgotten about, intended to use at some point, but never gotten around to it. Like, there's so many of these things you can do. That's why the meta is just kind of lost on me. If I played the game more, if this was like the only game I played, then I could understand maybe, but there's so many things I could still do with this that are fun. And I don't even care for the most part, even if I lose. It's just like, you know, you're trying to do it a particular way. You could try to basically do the Doppelgangster plus an evolve effect, but you're still going to need like a taunt or something, so I almost would prefer the Murloc thing. Maybe I'll take my chance, because this doesn't look like it's... Or actually, you can get rid of at least one thing. You do this, and then you can do Thrall, so now it'll be... You know, depending on what you get, these will at least be a little bit better than what they have, and I gain a little bit of armor. The assumption is they're not going to get like Mega Fin or something crazy like that. Or I keep doing that before I really see what I get from it. Repeat the last spell you've cast on friendly minion on this. I mean, those are at least okay. What is synergy, right? Transform everything into a dinky Murloc and then evolve it after that, but it's still not that good. Now we have Doppelgangster with some good potential effects. You could do it even multiple times over. That is a sick play. It's just like I can't do it because they're putting too much pressure all the time. For a while there, they were just kind of waiting. So, you know, they're waiting for your meta good play to actually counter it, but then you don't do it because they just suck. Because my deck just sucks, I mean. At least they're not going face anymore, so I'm more than happy if they do this, because you can't play around Doppelgangster now. I'll just do it all in one turn. Right, like this is going to be sick, but you're still going to have to hope for like a taunt or something. Fuck off. No, it's got to be this. Even though I like the idea of the taunt behind that, it's just you have to at least try to make this happen. You get a 7/7 taunt. Whenever your hero attacks, that's not really going to happen. 7 cost for each frostspell you cast this game. Okay, so now we can do. You can do this like 3 times, so I may as well just do it. 7/7 Gruul is okay. 5/5 is not okay. Fuck. At the end of your turn, recruit a dragon. Come on, man. I'm actually just dead, probably. But, well, maybe not. If they can just deal with this. Harrowing Ox if you excavated twice. Damn it. I mean, it's still a decent board, but they're going to somehow easily be able to deal with it. We've gotten Gruul actually a couple times here. From maybe the legendary minion effect too, like the one that gives you random legendary minions. Not too big of a deal, but it's at least going to take them some work to get through this. Okay, the 5/6 remains. We can actually just kill you. Actually, maybe I can't. Or they didn't even bother trading in. Why would you do that? Wait, this would be corrupt, so that's pretty good. It's just... we'll be 1 fucking damage short here. Now, we're not going to have... we are getting the effect from that, right? Summon 2 copies, corrupt. Oh, no, I have to play a card that costs. I don't know why I'm thinking. But maybe this is still worth it. I'm going to get greedy and fuck up something, but... we want those just for the taunts. And then I want, for each spell in your hand, summon a random minion the same cost. You know, again, a lot of these effects, which you can't blame it too much. Like, a lot of cards are meant for that. They're high cost now because they're good statted, but because they're they have like some sort of win condition crazy effect to them. Many of which are like uninteractive and just one-sided, but why did it have to be that one, dude? And why do you take so long then? You obviously have lethal because you could just hit me in the face and do that. Which, even if I had done that, it would have done the same fucking thing. There might be a clown in my hand, but I also see a clown right here, dude. Like Nerzul looking at the Lich King on the other side. That's literally me looking at the clown right here. Like looking in a mirror in my dark visions or whatever he said. That. So you're the one from my vision. Or these things always remind me of the thing from The Thing, actually. John Carpenter's The Thing. Like, where it's able to just absorb stuff and... what is, like, the badass line? It's like... I don't think it's even in The Thing, but people say it. Like, The Thing... cry of something world. The cry of 1,000 worlds or whatever. It's clobbering time. No, this is a different kind of thing. Damn, what is that quote? John Carpenter, The Thing, death cry of 1,000 worlds, basically. I don't know where that line actually comes from, but like when it makes a sound, it'll yell, but it's like the combined voices of all the creatures it's absorbed from different planets. So like dogs and this and that, right? That it keeps assimilating with itself. So it's like when it's crying, it's the death cry of 1,000 worlds that it's destroyed before, because it just keeps doing the same thing over and over, right? Just relentlessly absorbing everything it comes across and just with seemingly no other purpose even. Okay, see you tomorrow. That's just what those old god minions remind me of.